I want to start off by saying that I am absolutely, positively, 100% so impressed and a big fan of Mr. Joe Rogan. I hope he understands what position he has and how he is absolutely transformational in terms of how important he is. But I want to say a few things to him, and I hope he recognizes this and take it from somebody who's kind of seen this and been around. See, I know this. Joe, you got to understand something. If you don't mind me calling you Joe. They're going to try to take you down, take you out. They're going to want to try to hurt you. They're going to try everything in their power to destroy you, to hurt you, to harm you, to cause you irreparable and inconceivable pain as they destroy the likes of you. Because as you will know, when someone gets to be bigger than anything, because in terms of podcasting, he is what Rush Limbaugh was to talk radio, what Father Coughlin was to in his day, bigger than anything anybody had ever seen. But the first thing they're going to want to do is they're going to want to bring you, hurt you, take you down. Take you down, take you out, and hurt you. To hurt you beyond anything anybody's ever seen. So it's very important for you to figure out how not to do anything to incur the wrath of these folks, but also to recognize the fact that you have an important responsibility to your fans and others as well. Remember your first time, you were trying to be honest. You were trying to speak your mind about vaccines. And they came at you like a ton of bricks, and they wanted to teach you a lesson. They wanted you to understand that you'd better be very, very careful, my friend. Very, very careful, because what you were doing is you were daring to comment as to something that, frankly, they didn't want you to even get near. To talk about the vaccine, to talk about COVID, and you came out in this most contrite expatiation, this mea culpa. It was really something, a little embarrassing if you ask me, but still, I understand it. I understand why you had to do it. You had to do the right thing because of the fact that it was something that, let's face it, could have been the end of you. In fact, Neil Young was threatening to pull his musical catalog from Spotify. I mean, can you imagine losing Cowgirl in the Sand? Dear God. But you learned a lesson. And then you came out and you said something which, in retrospect, was important. It's about Bobby Kennedy. Let me tell you something, Joe. Listen to me. Bobby Kennedy is no good. What I mean is no good. He might be a good person, but he is no good to try to get around. He is a nut. Maybe he's enjoying his own degree of senescence as he gets to the back nine, because let me tell you something about him. This is a guy who's reckless and shows a tremendous recklessness, an inability to care of what people are thinking about him and others. This is a guy who said a while back, after the fact, he made these comments about Donald Trump. Now, I understand why you would not want to necessarily endorse Trump. I get that. But I know, and you know, that you're going to be voting for him. I know that. Because you're practical. Because Dana White's your best buddy, and Dana White's going to do it. And you have to maintain this kind of a ceremonial ambivalence, this reluctance, this separation of any kind of fan status, if you will. I understand this. I understand it. I get what you're saying, and I understand it. But what I'm telling you, what's really important for you to understand and to grasp, is a very simple concept. Donald Trump is still the best thing that's ever happened to this country, and you know it, and I know it, especially if you're making money, and especially right now, if you're enjoying the benefits of a country run by Donald Trump. If the world were run by the likes of Kamala Harris and Tampon Timmy, the first one they would go after is you. Now, it's not because they're socialists or Marxists. They're not smart enough. They don't understand Marx from a hole in the ground. But it's the idea that you don't play ball with them. You're too independent, and you would be viewed as a threat by them. They would view you as being somebody who might change your tune. Somebody pose a a degree of antithesis, something antithetical, dare I say, to their position. I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds nuts. But you would never be allowed to exist in a Kamala Harris world. Just look at what they're doing in Great Britain regarding people who misspeak on social media. Remember, the people who are manifestly the most antagonistic towards free speech is the left, not the right. You would think that the right wingers were the fascists, but it's the left. These people are. They're constantly. They brought us political correct thinking and this woke lunacy and the like. You know, Bobby Kennedy should be commended for what he did, specifically by speaking out and speaking regarding the world of vaccines and this COVID mania and this biomedical tyranny and biomedical martial law. I understand that. And for that, he is to be commended, and his work with autism. But he lost his mind when he teamed up with Shmuley Boteach, when he wasn't paying attention. He forgot that he has to watch what he says, and he always felt a degree of, I said this the other day and I stopped myself, that he's bulletproof because he's a Kennedy, which historically is the most ridiculous thing ever. If ever there was something that is oxymoronic, it would be that. But you know what I mean. He feels that by virtue of his being the scion, the dauphin, so to speak, of the Kennedy clan, that he is imbued with the ability to say anything he wants and not have to worry about repercussions. Oh, Bobby, you have no idea what you're talking about. I should say Joe. Bobby, you don't know what you're talking about. It's true, but Joe, be careful. Stay away from him. Remember what I'm saying to you, Joe. You are a breath of fresh air to this particular medium. And ask yourself this question. It's what an old program director told me years and years ago. Actually, it was a station manager. It was a group manager. To make a long story short. Whenever you want to say something that's bold and wild and something that is considered to be beyond the pale, something that is opprobrious and uproarious, is something that is exciting and contrarian, ask yourself this question. Pick the hill you want to die on. Now comment as you see fit.